Peace, mercy, and blessing of Allah be upon you, my dear students. Today we are completing our story, Juan Verdades, the man who couldn't tell a lie. Yesterday we stopped at Juan Verdades was telling a lie on his master, Don Ignacio, and he stopped himself. Let's complete and see what's going to happen.
But the words were hardly out of his mouth when he heard himself say, "No, that's not true, mi patron. I picked the fruit." And then he stopped himself. He took a deep breath and started over again with, "Good evening, mi capitas." And when he reached the end, he sputtered, The wind shook the apples to the ground, and the cows came and ate them. No, they didn't, mi patron. He tried over and over until he realized there was no way he could tell a lie. But he knew he could never come right out and say what he had done either. He had to think.
So now Juan Verdades is trying more and more to practice to train himself to tell a lie. But finally he discovered that he couldn't. He couldn't tell a lie. Let's move on.
Of another way to tell Don Ignacio. He took his hat and coat from the stump and sadly set out for the ranch. All day long Juan worried about what he would say to Don Ignacio, and all day long Don Ignacio wondered what he would hear from his foreman, because as soon as Araceli had shown the apples to her father, he had run gleefully to tell Don Ignacio what had happened. "Now you'll see, compadre," Don Arturo gloated. "You're about to hear a lie from Juan Verdades." Don Ignacio was heartsick to think that all his apples had been picked, but he had agreed that Don Arturo could try whatever he wanted. He sighed and said, "Very well, compadre. We'll see what happens this evening." Don Arturo rode off to gather the other ranchers who were witnesses to the bet, leaving Don Ignacio to pace nervously up and down in his house. And then, after Don Ignacio received a visit from Araceli, and she made a request that he couldn't deny, he paced even more nervously.
So, what happened now that Don Arturo ran to Don Ignacio to let him know that what happened between Juan Verdades and Araceli. And also, he gathered all the ranchers to witness what's going to happen. Let's see.
All the while Juan went about his work, thinking of what he would say to Don Ignacio. That evening, the foreman went as usual to make his report to his employer, but he walked slowly and his head hung down. The other ranchers were behind the bushes listening, and Araceli and her mother were watching anxiously from a window of the house. The conversation began as it always did. "Good evening, mi capitas." "Good evening, mi patron." "How goes it with my cattle and land?" "Your cattle are healthy, your pastures are green." "And the fruit of El Manzano Real?" Juan took a deep breath and replied, "Oh, patron, something terrible happened today. Some fool picked your apples and gave them away." Don Ignacio pretended to be shocked and confused. "Some fool picked them," he said. "Who would do such a thing?"
So now, my dear students, this is the facing of Juan Verdades is facing his master by telling him the truth in a special way. I really admire this part of the story. Okay, tomorrow inshallah we will complete the last two pages from this story to finish it and let you know what is the end of it. But now we can move to readers and writers notebook, the last page of this story, page 221, troublesome verbs again. Read the passage, then read each question, circle the letter of the correct answer. The new car. A shiny new car sat in our driveway. My father cannot wait to take us for a ride in his first convertible. The keys lay on the kitchen counter. "Come with me," he says to my mother and me. He set his briefcase on the back seat. I have to leave my homework on the table so I can go with them. You can sit in the front seat, he tells Mom proudly. We leave quietly so that we will not wake my grandmother. Suddenly we hear, I am not going to lie here while you have all the fun. In 5 minutes, Grandma leaves the house with us, and we are traveling down Main Street, the wind whistling through our hair. This is the passage. Let's read the first question. Which form of the verb in parentheses best completes sentence 1? Sentence 1, a shiny new car sit in our driveway. So here we have car, singular, so we need to add s. Okay, so sits is the correct answer. What change, if any, should be made in sentence 3? Let's read sentence 3. The keys lay on the kitchen counter. The keys, plural, and I have lay. It's correct. So don't do anything, make no change. Which form of the verb in parentheses best completes sentence 5? Let's go to sentence 5. He sat. No, he is singular. So yes, we will add s. So sits. Question 4. Which form of the verb in parentheses best completes sentence 6? I happily leave my homework on the table so I can go with them. Leave, leaved, lie, laid, so I leave, the same one. I leave. I can't add anything. Okay. The last one, what change, if any, should be made in sentence 8? Sentence 8. We leaved. Oh, the passage is present, and I have here leaved. Why? Yeah, there's a problem here. Quietly, so that we will not wake my grandmother. So, leaved, no. Change leaved to leave. We leave. Because all the passage is in present tense. Okay, thank you for now. Tomorrow inshallah we'll finish one Verdades, only 2 pages to know the end of the story. Now we finished readers and writers notebook, and I wish you all the best. Thanks for now and goodbye.